started. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us today. Really do appreciate it. Today, we're going to be covering. What are we covering? We're covering the Mayfair Witches, episode 1, The Witching Hour. Hell yeah! What's going on?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the witching hour, enough said, is basically that hour where you expect all things typically around midnight, all things witchery, witchcraft, black magic type things that are happening. So the witching hour. Let's get into episode 1, or you know,
Okay,
the
so
snooze
Corey,
fest is episode 1.
Corey joined us last, and I'm so interested in what Corey has to say. Corey, your overall impressions of this first episode, The Witching Hour. What's going on?
Okay, so I went
Don't hold
into
back.
it. I went into it. I was like, ooh, thinking it was gonna have the same fire that we are used to with Interview with the Vampire. And it started off slow, and I was getting into it, and I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for that thing to pop off, and I kept waiting. It didn't pop off. It didn't pop off like I wanted it to. However, the most intriguing character was not Rowan, but it was Lasher. So, that kind of that put a question mark in my mind, and it kind of actually brings up another question. As a lover of villains, and I know I'm not the only one. I love the villains sometimes. What do we think about Lasher as it relates to comparing him to Lestat? Do we think he's going to be the same type? Is he going to move the story along in the same way that Lestat did? I know they're different. He is not necessarily what I would consider protagonist, but possibly we don't even know. This is just the first episode. So it just didn't give what I wanted it to give. Long story short, um, there's a lot of potential. I like the show. I am anticipating continuing to watch the show. Um, I think the fans will like it. I think Mayfair Witches is a different type of story than what Interview with the Vampire is. However, I am hopeful that they're going to be able to keep up with the expectations that they've set for Interview with the Vampire.
Okay. Hell yeah. Your thoughts and impressions.
So a couple of things. I love that you said it has potential. So we know from science in elementary school, there's potential energy, and there's kinetic energy, right? So potential is just it's just there, but that kinetic energy, I need you to move it along. We need some motion.
Right.
So right now, I am absolutely underwhelmed
Mhm.
with this show. Episode 1 did absolutely nothing for me. It was like bad sex. Like you all bucked up to just really get in there and like, oh, this man is so fine, and he about to be throwing me all across the room. I had high expectations for
Wait,
episode 1 of the
wait,
Mayfair, which is like, I was hot
wait,
and ready like Little Caesar's pizza. I was ready. I was so ready.
wait. Did y'all
And
see the
then
scene when she was having sex with that bartender? I mean, even that sex scene was like, oh my God. Can you feel it
That's
already?
it. Yes.
That's the scene,
like,
and then the boy that they picked, the little Twinkie. I mean, not him, but him as well. But then the Twinkie boy later on, I was like, wait a minute, what is the
You
problem?
mean at Cortland's party?
Yes, at Cortland's party. I mean, the first guy, I was expecting rough, wild, you know, just nasty. The kind where they spit in your mouth, that kind of
oh,
thing.
yes, yes,
I was expecting that. I
wait,
was expecting that
Wait,
based off of his
wait.
looks and how he presents himself with his
oh, what? Corey,
and
look,
he
you
was a
speaking
big
my
old
love
teddy
language.
bear. He wanted more than he wanted a relationship. I'm thinking this is more, I was disappointed. I was disappointed. And then the little twink, he was just used, poor thing. And then
And
it
then
wasn't
killed
even all that good sex. He was dead the next morning. It wasn't.
her.
I just
Brittany. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
one more point. Corey mentioned something about what do we think about him in comparison to Lestat. I am a big Lestat fan. Obviously, like Corey said, they're extremely different characters. As far as Lasher, I feel like he's not going to be anywhere near that as far as a villain goes, because he requires something to even be across the veil. Whereas Lestat is such a standalone character, he can be that dude without, having to manifest himself through someone else. Of course, I haven't read the books for the Mayfair Witches trilogy, or however many books is a part of it. But I don't see that happening. But I also am a snob and like pro Lestat, so to be fair, I'm very biased.
Britt?
I agree with Corey and Elle. Yeah, I was so anticipating finally getting a sex scene from an Anne Rice trilogy, and this is what I get. This is very underwhelming. It was very disappointing. I've been waiting for a sex scene for like 6 months now, and this is what I get. This it? What the fuck?
You was
What
you
the
was
shit?
celibate. You was celibate, girl, and then when they popped that
Celibate.
thing, it wasn't popping. This is what
It
it.
wasn't popping. I was just sitting there. I fell asleep.
I just have to say the gay sex was way more interesting and intriguing to the extent
Way
of what they
more.
showed, and they didn't really show the whole meat of the thing. It was way more intriguing.
They showed the meat, Corey.
Way.
And we is all carnivores on here.
I know that's right. Now, one thing I can
Meat
say though, I
eaters,
am
boo, meat
excited.
eaters.
I am excited to see what happens with who I think is Rowan's mom, since the doctor stopped the medicine. I am excited for that part, but that was really it. Everything else, even Rowan, the main character, was boring. It was just boring. I was
He have these
like,
beautiful, dreamy eyes and
beautiful eyes.
just
Beautiful
boring.
eyes.
He's boring.
I don't know if I'm gonna say she's boring. I think that
What do you call it?
I don't.
With the power that
She's
she
not.
has, I should be like holding on to my dang on seat, like, oh yeah, you giving
What's
people
about to happen next?
I,
I
part
think
of it, I
it was.
think, is they're trying to set up us. They're trying to set it up a little bit different than what they gave in Interview with the Vampire, and I think the
Clearly.
Mayfair Witches is a
Why?
little bit slower story. I think it's a slower story, y'all. I do. I think it's a little bit slower in the very beginning. I think it heats up towards the middle and end of basically what I've seen in some of the groups that I'm in on Facebook. I think, but
Mm-hmm.
overall, the opinion has been pretty much the same. Is that we are a little, as fans, we're a little underwhelmed with the first episode. However, if you have AMC Plus and you've already watched the second excuse me, I can't talk because I'm late. Um, it 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 does get a little bit better. So
It does, but
I
it's
hope
still not
so.
that fireworks, multiple orgasm. It's not that. It's still not
it
The
is.
that.
It's not that.
levitating.
It's
It's
not
not that.
giving.
It's no
It's
It's not
not
giving
sexy
French
giving.
men in
wide.
it. I ain't
Erica,
seen one French white. I ain't seen one sexy man. None, no thirst trap. Not one. And normally they
Erica.
have at least one.
I'm not seeing Rowan as sexy either. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I can appreciate
She's not
bodies of all
sexy.
kinds. I'm not
No,
seeing
she's not
sexy
She
sexy.
Rowan
real
either.
She's beautiful though.
She
She's
beautiful,
is. She's
but
beautiful.
absolutely.
regular.
She's not sexy.
She's
She
beautiful, but
not
she's regular.
sexy.
I done had
How you
Erica,
not
sexier
a sexy witch in New Orleans?
Barbie dolls than Rowan.
Erica, your thoughts?
I thought that I fell asleep and it was
Why did all of us fall asleep?
So I nodded off a little bit in the beginning. I was like, "Oh, let me wake up." And
and I felt. Go ahead, Corey.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I just don't understand. Like some of the scenes seemed unnecessary, and I just
Yes,
hope they all tie together soon. And I hope that it picks up in episode 2 because I haven't seen it yet, so that I don't fall asleep again. And I'm
yes.
usually good about staying up for a good story. I mean, I watch all kind of stuff. Yellowstone be having me out here, but
Girl, Yellowstone. Them
give
white
me a
people
good
be killing the
storyline.
mess out of each other.
Give me a good storyline, and I'm gonna be like, when I go to sleep, I all open, struggling the next day, but still thinking about the story. Like that was a good story. You know what I'm saying? That did not give me that. I very much went to sleep.
Yeah. Erica, I'm the same way. I share with you all. I fell asleep 5 times trying to watch it. Every single time that I put it on, I fell asleep. I had to struggle myself through watching it. And I can't even tell you why. Maybe it's because there are so many differences between the book and the show, which as I've said before, I don't really, those things don't really bother me. There are some changes though that was just like, it was wild to me. It was like, why did they do that? It made no sense. Hopefully, those things will be cleared up a little bit later. But we kind of sort of started talking about Rowan. Who is Rowan? Based on, and I'm so glad that not many of you all have read the book. But based on what you've seen in episode 1, who is Rowan in your opinion?
Rowan is the lost daughter of the Mayfair
Mm.
Witches, but I won't say that she's so much as lost as was given in order to prevent something from happening, some connection that's had that the Lasher demon or whatever has to their family. Evidently, there's an issue. There's something going on with that. And Rowan is basically, she's been hoodwinked. She thinks she's one person. Uh, she's been bamboozled. She is not who she thinks she is, and poor thing doesn't find out until you know till it's too late, almost, to a certain extent. And now she's having to find out who she is. So that is compelling in and of itself. Um,
Mm.
however, you know,
That's kind of episode 2. But
yeah. Oops.
let's go. That's okay. That's okay. Eric, not Erica. Oh yeah. Who is Rowan?
So enough for her adoptive mom to like dip without telling her nothing. Like to me, Rowan is very confused. She's longing to know more about who she is, but then we have this Rowan that's like this kick ass doctor,
Mhm.
so I did appreciate that. A female surgeon actually. So I did like that about her, that she has this full career going on, and you see her kind of dealing with some workplace bullying, especially with like misogyny type things going on in the medical field. So you get to see this person that don't really know who they are as far as family background, and then having to fight through the situations that she's going through at work. So I'm seeing Rowan as a really complex character, and then kind of as far as sex goes, kind of promiscuous and don't want to attach herself to anybody. So there's a few things going on with Rowan. She's layered, even though with how it's displayed in the show is still a complete snooze fest. I'm gonna keep saying it. Um, up to this point, up to this point.
Poor Roy, she's just not giving.
Oh, Blue Eyes is beautiful though. She's beautiful. She's pretty. She's a
Let
pretty
me say,
girl.
if you've seen the actress in anything else, there's a show on Netflix where she plays a serial killer. Completely different. Yes. Yes.
I haven't seen
Completely
that one.
different turn for the actress in terms of the type
I
of
never
character
saw
that
that.
she's able to play. And I think this may lend itself to, maybe there was something happened in the writing of this story to where she's not been able to showcase her talent to that
Okay,
extent so far in the show. I've
well,
seen her in
that's
a
good to
couple things,
hear.
and she's what made me kind of excited because I was like, oh yeah, she's kind of cool. But
Yeah, in the book, she's
That's
completely,
fair.
her personality is completely different. She is cool. Well, first off, her family, she was always raised to be rich. Her family had money, had means. She was confident in who she was. She didn't hold anything back. She was strong, right? And yes, she was beautiful. Yes, she was sexy. She was the full total package. What I see in episode 1 is the complete opposite, except when it to your point, Elia, except when it came to her profession. She was very competent in episode 1. Um Erica's eating. Britt, who is Rowan?
So, from what I've seen, Rowan is just like what y'all said, this very confused, complicated, lackluster person that
Great
we're
work.
seeing so far. And I'm really not sure fully who she is yet. overall as a character, but what I am interested to see is how she's going to develop more, because I do see the potential there based on her, possibly her backstory. I think like there's so many different pieces that hasn't been able to connect, that she's just lost. And that's why she likes to just do these random things where she sleeps with men, or she's on a boat. She didn't buy a house so she could have roots. She lives on a boat so she can just come and go as she pleases. I think she's just trying to go on this journey and figure out who she is.
Erica, who is Rowan?
I know who I hope Rowan isn't. I hope she's not a lost ass little white girls we gotta watch a story about. I much rather I like my white girls, in these stories stronger than
You want the privilege to take precedent. You want them to own that shit.
that. Yes,
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes, Corey, I love how you cleaned that up and you made it so Giorgio Armani as opposed to Dollar Tree. I love the way you said that. That was so
what she
nice.
say? What she saying that about? Oh
you probably Dollar Tree.
my god!
I did
Yes,
not.
yes, she did.
I did
So
not.
I'm the
No, no,
only
no.
one.
That's absolutely
Oh, okay,
not.
so I'm gonna be
Yeah.
the only one saying what it is. That's fine.
That was not a big entry for it. I promise you. It's just Corey just finessed the hell out of that. He did.
But I
Absolutely.
like that though. You made me
I
realize
appreciate
that you're right. Like,
Yeah, a bear of men. I'm not mad at it. You,
That
I'm
story
not
is
at
old.
all.
That story is
Yeah.
old.
I
I don't
agree.
like. I've been watching that all my whole life.
It's like, oh, poor tortured white girl.
Poor
Yeah,
Let
don't
me
be
tortured
tune
saying
gay.
in.
torture.
The white
You better
See how
experience
the
is
start
so
world beats her
hard.
down and has so hard for her.
As
you better
opposed to
start
Beth in
saying
Yellowstone. You know what I'm saying? Beth in
Ooh,
Yellowstone.
a whole tornado. That's all I'm
You
saying.
know, she
I
Right.
is
like
who I
that.
love to watch. I love
Oh
like I hate her, but
I
I love
love
her.
Beth.
I hate her, but I love her. But I totally understand and I get it.
yeah, I
I
do.
get it.
Torch Earth, Beth. Let's
I
go.
would
Are we?
burn it down too,
Scorching
Beth.
Earth today? I
Yep.
just like people to stand in their power nowadays. Like that. Oh, I don't want it. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that. The poor tortured soul, poor unfortunate soul. Let us take a
Yes.
little
Come on,
mermaid.
Disney. Come on,
Yeah,
Disney.
a mermaid. You was a witch. You better start witching sometime soon. I know that much.
Witch up, witch. Let's go.
I'm just saying.
Step your witchiness up, boo. Step your
I'm just
witchiness
Okay, come on with the witchery.
right.
up.
But I'm also a villain lover, so and we see you can get mad. So I'm gonna just see what they're gonna do with that, even though that scene was cheesy.
So Corey mentioned it earlier. Corey said that he was interested in finding out who the character Lasher is. Based on episode 1, Brittany, who or what is Lasher?
I don't know what the hell that man is. I think maybe he's a ghost or a demon. I don't know, but he's really creepy how he's following her around school and talking to her, and he's a grown man. It's very Lolita and inappropriate. She's trying to get her education, do what she need to do, and here you go sneaking around talking about, "Hey, little one, I'm here for you." What are you doing, sir?
Giving
What are
pervert.
you doing? It's real creepy. He just in the window watching. I don't know how I feel about Lasher. Something is
Lasher is like
off.
a witch sex trafficker or something. I don't know.
Right,
Like,
Yeah.
right.
He's a
Like there's
groomer.
something with
He
the sex
grooms.
between him and the Mayfairs and uh, there's a connection. I know there is. I just haven't read the story to know what the connection is and the reasoning why. But I don't know. How do we feel about Lasher in terms of his looks and his appeal? Again, comparing him to Lestat, even though I know we
No,
shouldn't, because
he
we
ain't
have
no
a
French
special
white.
place for the French white. Yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed a little bit too. Like he's pretty,
Ain't he supposed to be sexy?
but he doesn't. I get creeper vibe and like that something is just not right underneath the surface. I don't get that. ooh, I know you're dangerous, but I still
Sexy.
want to follow you vibe. And that's kind of what I
Right.
want from
Yeah.
the Anne Rice
And
guys, like the demons and the witches and the men that's in Anne Rice's stories. I want to feel like I will still follow them, even though I know that they're either going to A, bite me, B,
bite me.
you
Possess
know,
me.
possess me, or C, lead me to the path of total destruction. I don't care. I still want to follow it. You know what I'm saying? But
That's
I'm not
right.
getting that from Lasher.
No,
there
Not
and
is
the
at all.
fact
there
that
is a
Lasher
look
can
that comes with that.
say it again, Erica.
I said there is a certain type of sex appeal, a certain look that comes with that.
Yeah,
And
but
he
the
It is.
fact that
still ain't got
Lasher
it.
has the ability to allow himself to manifest any way that he wants, this is what you came up with,
It's not
you know?
okay.
Like I
This
kind of
is
would have
a forward
expected him to
thing,
kind of give a rocker
like she
vibe,
said.
kind of with long hair and an otherworldly type person that like a more
Very
butch,
Euro.
yeah, Euro,
And he's not
very.
unattractive. He's not
No, he's
unattractive at
not.
all.
He's not.
But
I
he's
just didn't
not. But
expect.
he's not Lestat.
That's the
No,
problem. If that's our measuring
He
stick,
doesn't.
people, it's gonna be hard for people to measure up.
We gotta have low expectations. I don't want low expectations.
not after
No,
I'm
I
seeing
just
Interview
interested in
with
think
the
it's
Uncle
Vampire.
talent.
Cortland though. Like, I'm most intrigued by Uncle Cortland because he seemed kind of freaky. Like he throw
Yeah,
wild parties. Like Uncle Cortland is like my favorite
he got
person so far
shit.
in the
But he
Yeah,
show.
live in New Orleans, down there on First Street. Ooh.
That's
So
like
where,
I
right.
where was
know, like
where
Like
seeing
was this?
Uncle
Cortland's
Court,
character, I know exactly who he is, and we've
Uncle
all,
Cortland, he's the one that'll give you the spit in the mouth that you're looking for. That he the
yeah.
one.
Yes.
But
He got
it would
his
be
he
Harry
got a
Hamlin, and
plethora
Yes,
of
that don't
men.
appeal to me.
He was
hell
like,
yeah.
listen, my niece is about to be here and I gotta pick a man for her tonight. Let me just get 4 men to come up in here and let me pick them out. Hold on.
Right.
That's the type of uncle that thank you.
But wait, the way they the way they introduced him
He
to
said
us,
thank you.
where he was leaned back, and what did he say?
Mm-hmm.
What did he say? Do you remember exactly what he said? He was like, "Oh, take your time, don't rush." So he's leaning back, and you thinking, "Ooh, somebody's fellatio." You just know that's what's going on,
That's what it was. Right.
but it's a man rubbing his feet, and so
Right.
I was like, "Oh, okay, I know you, I know you, I
We
understand you."
Cortland is a
You are
queen,
me.
and I love
You are
Cortland. He
me.
is a god dang on
I
queen,
want
and
him
I
to
love
be I love it too. I want them to show him more. I'm hoping he has a larger role.
Yeah.
I really do.
So I read this in a group, and I guess I'm gonna lean on you, Jermaine, to tell us whether or not this is true that Cortland is actually a combination of two characters, perhaps.
It's
I think.
it's it seems like it. It seems like he's a combination of Julian and the character Cortland.
Okay.
Seems like it. Not certain.
Is he also a witch? That's the question that they did not answer. Is he a witch? Is he
In
a
the book,
wizard? Is
yes.
he a
In the
okay?
book, he's a witch.
So they refer to male witches as witches or warlocks.
Witch.
In, also, in this show, it's still witch.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm, that's interesting.
So, like, just to have context, so do they have powers? Like,
Yes.
what is this popping thing of the arteries?
Okay, so she has a power that the rest of them don't. Because she's a doctor. Because she's a doctor, she understands human anatomy a whole lot better than most other witches. And because she didn't know that she had these powers, she, she when she gets upset, she sees inside the mind of people. And so that's why they were showing, the brain.
Okay. So this is a power she
Yeah.
always had.
It's a power that she always had that the others don't have. She's the most powerful one of them all.
Okay.
yeah.
You would
Because
She
she's
not
the,
think it.
like from
because
her
she's the
childhood
actual
was a little girl
baby.
that
Whoa. Three y'all were talking. Let's go with Elia first. What did you say, Elia?
oh no, to Erica's question about like has she always had the power? I remembered in the show they mentioned her like hurting some little girl
Mm-hmm.
when she was younger.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
She got
Erica,
a
what
little
did you
So
weird
say?
on the playground. She gotta
Oh,
go.
Oh
Awful
yeah.
day.
I don't want to play with her.
You take my toy, I give you an aneurysm. Goodbye.
I
Right?
you could blow somebody's kneecaps. You ain't gotta go for the brain every time.
No, I'm coming for I'm stepping on these hoes' necks. Straight up.
No.
Well, a lot of that had to do with Lasher himself. And perhaps I'm telling you too much, but
But that's why I asked, was it because it was Lash's child? Is she more powerful?
well, none of them is. No one in the Mayfair family is Lasher's child. Typically, what Lasher would do was he would allow the women to have sex with someone else, and then he would come right behind and have sex with the woman. But none of the kids are Lashers.
It's
Hmm.
kind of like a possession type thing to where he.
It's like I'm going to allow you to have sex with these people, but I'm coming right behind, and I'm going to show you,
That's
you know.
freaky.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah,
That
it
is
is. That's
freaky.
why I was like, wait a minute. So he
And he
likes
can look
slime?
like anything, and that's what he want to look like.
Say that again.
He can look like anything, and that's who he wants to look like.
And I was so surprised by that. Like it made no sense. But he's from what is it, Scotland? Yeah, he's from Scott. He's supposed to be from Scotland. And so, okay, yeah, I kind of sort of get it. And it's from like hundreds of years ago. Again, I kind of sort of get it. But still, people from 100 years ago, whatever, they still looked a certain way. And if you're supposed to be Lasher, you can make yourself look like anybody you want.
You should
Come
look
on,
according
bro.
to your
Like you're
history,
supposed to
or
be
yeah.
like so appealing. Like men and women are attracted to Lasher.
Yes,
Mm.
that's the frustrating part.
So you read the
Sorry,
book too?
I got some. No,
Now, let me say this: he could get it.
I just wanted to
However,
be
he's not going to
sexy
be able to get it to the same extent that the French white could get.
You gonna
Like,
because there's
you gonna
levels
give them the
to it,
basic
Corey.
package instead of the premium package, Corey?
yeah,
That's
the
right.
French
Just get you
white
can
could
get a
get
wash and you can get a wash and go. You can't get the full,
you can't get the full thing. You can't get the full thing. But
Can't get a full set. Mm-mm.
So you ain't, so you
Just
still
vanilla,
feel,
not Neapolitan. Just
mm-mm.
so you
Not
feeling
the
your,
You don't get all the flavors. You just get one flavor, the basic one, that the
but
general
you're
package.
still here.
you ain't gonna get the triple threat. You ain't gonna get the
You
triple
don't get no
threat. Just
drizzle either. You don't get no drizzle.
No, no.
Mm-mm.
if I can't get no drizzle, you can keep it.
well, you know what? Speaking of Drizzle, there is one character. They didn't show him too much in this episode. They show him in episode 2, Cyprian, the black guy. Do y'all remember him? For those who
I
only
do.
watched
The
episode 1?
the
I fell
one
asleep
that is
on the first one.
over he's protecting Rowan.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So in the television show, they're calling him Cyprian. Now he's another character that seems to be a combination of more than one character.
That's what I was thinking too. Is
Mhm.
it David and somebody?
Yes, they mixed David with Michael.
Yeah. Okay.
And perhaps another character, because in episode 2 I was like, oh, he's starting to sound like another character,
Right.
but I'm not gonna go there. So but
Because David was not introduced in Interview with the Vampire because that role was filled by somebody else, or they didn't really talk about the Telemaska really
no, they
like
didn't.
talking about in Interview with the Vampire. They mentioned it briefly, I think, but I don't think they really talked about it as much, which is weird because the Telemaska is always there, and you think that they would have kind of at least kind of said something about them if they're going to introduce them in the way that they introduced them now. But that's not neither here nor there.
It might come out in season 2 of Interview with the Vampire, and the reason for it, I believe, is because she started off in the Witching Hour. She started off by talking about the Talamaska,
Yeah.
whereas in Interview with the Vampire, she didn't really talk about them. It was like one or two lines in that first book where she mentioned them, but she like maybe in the second book, that's where she embellished who and what they were. But yeah, that's just my thought. I'm not certain about that, to be honest. So no thoughts about Cyprian?
I think
Oh,
it's cute.
he's cute.
I'm curious. His character also makes me wonder what other beings are in the universe that we have yet to, like, he's psychic, but but how is he psychic? Is he also a witch, but with his power being, you know, that he's psychic or that he can read minds or tarot or whatever, all of the above? Like, what else is there, and what else will we see?
I
So
want
I
to know
did
his
like that. It
connection
did
to the
show that
family.
there's more to the world, right?
So I can tell you according to the book. So
Okay.
Not
according to the
according to the
book,
text.
according to the text, there you go. According to the text, he didn't develop his powers until she meaning Rowan saved his life.
Oh,
So he never
okay.
had powers all up until then. I can tell you this though, he is actually a Mayfair
Oh wow.
according
Spoiler.
Okay,
according to the book. He didn't know
so
it
Oh,
though.
wait. Well, wait though. If we think about it, in the opening scenes, opening credits of the show, they show the family's quote unquote a family tree of some sorts on the wall, and there's a split that happens on the opening credits, and there are white and black people
Yes,
in on that family tree. But also, we know this
Oh wow.
because Rowan's mom, um, our
Ellie,
adopted mother, I can't think of her name right
Ellie,
now.
Ellie.
Yes, Ellie is, yeah, of course, she's black or Creole or whatever. Um, so we know that she's also a Mayfair. So there's a whole side of Mayfairs, evidently, that are of African descent. So I wonder if their magic and if the two sides of the family, is it different? Are they going to showcase that? Is it, are they going to give us like they did in Ryan Murphy's Coven? You have the Angela Bassett type of witchcraft, and then you have what's her name, Jessica Lange, and is it different, and how is it different, and why? I guess.
I like stuff like that. I hope
Me
it
too.
does do that. When I realized that it was in New Orleans, I didn't realize it the first time.
there's
Whew.
so much potential there. Like I hope
Yeah,
they bring that culture in and do it justice. So
I
I'm
hope
really
so.
looking forward to see how they do that, or if they do that.
it's actually
Carla, yes, what you got?
it would be fun to talk about the voodoo aspect of it though, instead of just the regular way people see witchcraft that is like the Salem type witch.
Hmm. So there was another character who,
Mm-mm,
again, in episode one, I don't
mm-mm,
think we saw a lot of, but we see a
mm-mm.
little bit more of her in episode two. That is Carlotta. Carlotta
Mhm.
is the aunt of Deidre. Your thoughts about Carlotta?
Can't stand her.
Can't stand her. Why is that,
Carlotta
Corey?
remind me of Miss Trunchbull
Yes.
from Matilda. The,
She got her thumb on our neck.
Feel bad for
We
that
couldn't get
lady.
it off.
Why you feel bad for Carlotta?
If you've been telling a person they whole damn life that the person they see in their head don't talk to, and the whole damn time they've been talking to them, I just think of it as a parent. Like, did I tell you?
But
No matter
the
what I
thing
tell
is
you,
that
you
she
still don't talk.
knows. But she knows that Lasher is real because I'm sure that all the Mayfair women have had experiences with Lasher. I'm thinking in my mind it's a
yeah, Cheryl
familiar
Hanson,
energy.
right?
And she knows that. I feel like she knows that what she's saying is true, and she's keeping stuff from her in order to protect her. And we know that that never turns out.
Never worked.
It
Never.
never works. It never works. So that's why I don't like her. I feel like she is doing more harm than good, and ultimately is whatever happens is partly to blame because they did this backhanded deal, this backdoor deal, to give Rowan away to another member of the family to do all these things instead of confronting the issue head on. I think that that's ultimately what
I
the
wonder
reason
how
why.
Carlotta got like trapped with being like basically the keeper of this house
The
Yeah.
and the one
caregiver.
that's responsible, yeah, for everything.
You really
Like
want to know?
Yes.
You because
Yeah.
I know they're gonna show it on the show because they're doing a lot of.
No, tell
Um,
us.
she killed. The person who wore the whatever you call it, not the brooch but the necklace. She killed that person
Hmm.
because that person
Oh.
was too enraptured in Lasher, and
See.
she knew that
That's why she
Lasher.
said that.
Yes, She was the
might have to
only one
kill
who was.
old girl.
She's the only one at that point. So at one point, she was supposed to be the one who had the thing, but she didn't want it because she knew what would happen. She knew what her life would be like, and so she said, "No, I don't want it. Give it to whoever." And so she. It was a lot. It's a lot about her story. I really don't want to get ahead of
Okay.
what you all are gonna watch, but yeah.
This
My
conversation
favorite
has been
scene.
way more interesting than the show.
Yes.
The whole show.
Making me feel like, you know what? I'm gonna keep on watching. Yep.
I just
I'm
don't
gonna
like.
keep watching.
I'm gonna keep watching. We done talked about it too much. I know I'm gonna keep watching.
I'm gonna keep watching it.
I gotta stick by side this decision.
Episode 2 is much better though. Episode 2
See, this
is
thing
much
grew up.
better.
It
Yeah.
is. Episode
Good.
2 is much better, and the ending is very good.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
the end of episode 2, because I'm gonna go watch it after we stop.
yeah. It was unexpected.
Ditto.
It also left me mad too, in a way, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Anything else that we want to talk about in terms of episode 1?
I guess, what do we hope to see in the? There's probably only going to be 8 episodes because I believe that was the same number that they had with interviews. So, what do we hope to see in the next 6 episodes besides the story being a little bit faster, a little bit more death, violence, sex, or whatever? What else do we want to see?
Exciting
for this
sex.
story? What? Besides
Exciting
sex,
sex.
fool.
That's
Well,
it.
a lot of murder. I can
Yeah.
only assume that Rowan is going to become much stronger as an individual. Oh, and she's also going to fall in love.
Always
With
got to have a
Cyprian, you
love
think?
story.
Yeah,
Always got to be a love
she's
story.
going to fall in. If they're staying consistent with the book, she's going to fall in love with Cyprian.
Ooh,
That's
that
interesting.
makes sense. He's the one that's watching over her, so that makes sense.
They need to introduce a few more characters, though. I think we're character
So
light.
it's a lot of characters that they're going to introduce.
Yeah, because we're character light at the moment, and I think that in order to move the story forward, there has to be more people that's going to come into the mix that have more information. Because right now we don't know hardly anything. And I think that's part of also the reason we don't know enough about these witches and who they are and their family history. And I guess that's part of the concern. With the interview, we knew the backstory. We don't know the backstory with the witches for the most part.
You know what? Another frustrating thing about this, as compared to Interview with a Vampire, the whole characterization of New Orleans, I did not enjoy it. And for one thing, one word, the character of Cortland kept saying "share, share." Now,
Yeah, he did.
now we all know that's supposed to be share. Come on, share.
You think
Right.
it's the
Share
fake
is
stuff
true friend.
involved for me. It's like you're not doing it, baby. You're not doing it. You're not doing
Now
it.
his southern accent wasn't bad. It had that draw and cadence to it, but the mispronunciation of certain words and the way his tongue rolled around certain things was kind of off. But
He
I
would have
guess
done
that's
better
expected.
he would have done better just not having an accent, because not everyone from the South has a Southern accent.
that's true. That's true. That's true.
That's why if you
And
can't
Case in
do
also,
it,
point.
Britt, any closing thoughts?
Sex. Exciting sex. Y'all know from Interview with a Vampire, that was my favorite part. And I was like, when are we gonna see it? Now I got a show that's showing it to me, and
The
it's not
meat.
exciting. So
Well-
I gotta be more descriptive in what I ask for in the future, because God will allow you to manifest what you want.
Okay.
I need to be more descriptive.
I can tell you this, at least according to the book, Cyprian and Rowan are going to have a lot of sex.
oh,
Yeah, but okay. I hope it's not like she did with that white bartender.
Because I thought that was gonna be some good sex, the way that he been pining after her and everything, and then it was just
Lackluster.
They don't know how to do a good sex scene. The people
I
who
will say what
recorded
I
it.
hope for is more witchiness. I need more witchiness.
Ooh.
I need more of the culture. I need more of the witch culture. I need more. I just need more. They're in New Orleans. There's a history of it. I just need them to draw into a little bit more of that. Also, to your point about the how they describe New Orleans, I feel like they're trying to go for more of that St. Charles vibe of New
Mm-hmm.
Orleans, as opposed to the
Yeah,
nitty
uptown.
gritty of what we saw in interview.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not gonna be.
Yeah.
and everyone can't relate to St. Charles, New Orleans. Most of us cannot.
No.
Um, so I don't
I'd
know.
actually like to see more historical references about New Orleans all throughout the
and
show.
and about that side of New Orleans, the
Yeah,
witches, the
because it's
vampires,
different.
or whatever, and how it relates to the culture of New Orleans, because New Orleans is loaded with that type of history, and I think that they
Mhm,
should lean into it a little bit.
mhm.
Agree.
Oh yeah.
I would like to not be more excited about the remake of Charmed as opposed to the Mayfair Witches.
The one that's on Netflix,
The one they canceled.
That
the one they canceled.
that,
The one they canceled.
I ain't
and I
like that
didn't
one
hate that
either.
show. I didn't
I
hate
didn't
it,
hate it
but
either.
I would
Man,
like to be more
Yeah, it
impressed
was
by
good.
this show than that one. And I'm
Mm.
to Corey's point, echoing that step the witchiness up because this
Yep.
is the Mayfair Witches, like not the Mayfair snooze fest, not the
mhm.
Mayfair let's take a nap and hold hands. Like no, step the witchiness up. I need to see it, and like Erica said, the historical references. Like, are you going to do New Orleans justice and not just the St. Charles vibe, like Corey said? So
The and also
Mhm.
if they could just it's already done, it's already written, they've already tell the story. But the perfect example of that was in I don't did any of you watch Coven with Brian Murphy? Brian
Yeah.
I,
Murphy's Coven on
Yeah.
America.
wait,
They did a
Coven.
That
good job.
he that was a perfect representation of the feel that we want from the witches. We want it don't
I
have to
don't
be
think we're gonna
campy.
get that, Corey.
I know
Are
we're
you
not
talking
gonna get
about
that.
like American Horror Story?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Coven.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did.
oh,
That was a
I enjoyed
perfect
Yeah,
American
they
Horror
did a
Story.
good job.
Yeah. I fell in love with all things American Horror Story after that until it just got, whatever.
stupid.
It
Um
was really weird.
I
Roanoke.
think
The
that's
season of
always
Roanoke.
kind of
My
weird.
God.
yeah, Roanoke was slow, but I got into it. I really,
I
really,
know
really
it's
loved
good.
Towards
Roanoke.
the end,
Yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah.
but to look the following seasons, like what's the one that was really bad? The one this last one wasn't all that great either, but the one before it, the double season, they just uh,
Hmm.
The
mm,
one with the clowns was weird.
freak
Yeah,
show.
Anything with clowns is weird.
always.
Which is why they had the clowns.
That's why they had them.
I know a few clowns, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh my.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so very much for watching yet another episode. Of course, we are going to be back for the second episode of Mayfair Witches. But until then, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends about us. Have a good one.